Risk assessments.
Introduction. To be forewarned is to be forearmed, and in fire safety, that means doing risk assessments. As part of your role as a fire warden, you will need to be able to carry out these assessments to ensure all potential fire hazards are accounted for, their potential effects, and how these can be controlled for. Risk assessments, 5 main steps. The central aspects of a risk assessment are: assess current risks, identifying potential obstacles to fire safety, blockages of exit routes, assessing appropriate levels of equipment installation, checking that all precautions currently in place are effective. There are 5 main steps of a good and successful fire risk assessment. Identify potential fire hazards, either cause of fire or impediments to safe escape. Determine whom these hazards might affect. Decide what the appropriate precautions would be against the identified hazards. Record your findings and implement the new precautions. Review and update your assessments regularly. Risk assessments, key considerations. Certain terms will be useful to consider when discussing, drafting, and implementing risk assessments. Practically reasonable. No business has infinite resources at its command. A good risk assessment is realistic and its suggested implementations are possible. Everything risk assessment suggests should be possible within the limitations of the relevant workplaces. Suitable. Every workplace is different, for one reason or another. Risk assessments may not be transferable between 2 different offices of the same company. A good risk assessment is tailored to the specific nature, task, and environment of your particular workplace. Sustainable. A good risk assessment understands that workplaces are in constant flux. The design of the precautions and procedures you suggest implementing should not be so rigid that they cannot be altered as the workplace changes. Examples of such changes might include an increase in employee numbers, anticipation of greater customer foot traffic, new materials being regularly stored on site, etc. Competent person. The selected individual whose role is to carry out the risk assessment must have the relevant knowledge, experience, training, and understanding to fulfill the role properly. They will need to keep a full record of all they do, and not be afraid to ask for appropriate assistance when required. Examples of things they will need include: knowledge of health and safety executive guidelines, training in how to develop an action plan, understanding of all necessary information for a risk assessment. Hierarchy of control. This term means the order in which a given workplace should implement all the prescribed control and precautionary measures. Risk assessments. Step 1. Identify all possible hazards. The first part of any good risk assessments is to find any and all instances of possible issues which could affect fire safety in your workplace. There are several excellent techniques to do this, including observation, classic detective work. Take several walks around the workplace and its various premises. Take multiple different routes, like the way you regularly move about the office, might not be the way you need to go in the event of an emergency. Identify anything that poses an obvious, or possibly not so obvious risk. Examples could potentially include